Reality is, it's really a mess, I think, in life in general, right? To get to success in anything, it's typically not, a road paved in gold. But when you don't have a lot of money and you still have to kind of survive, it gets even more complicated. And it's really, in entrepreneurship, you have to align so many things, all those things on the right, all the things that I've talked about so far. Okay, people are important. If you all work on teams, who's only had great team members on teams? Wow, that's pretty good. Every single class?
Yes, I got very lucky.
Wow, lucky, or did you pick them? Maybe you're a great leader.
Me?
Yeah, maybe you're the constant element in all of that. So, okay, so as we know, people are important. I'll just talk about why some of this is important nowadays. Do you get a lot of presentations on the job market right now? You're at a great school, so all of you are very fortunate. You're probably going to be in a very good situation coming out of Purdue to get jobs. But the job market is changing, right? Who goes to the supermarket and you see less and less people every time you go? Right? You got your little handheld thing. We're going to need less and less people. So you're going to have to be entrepreneurial. You're going to have to be able to communicate so you can talk about your value, right? You want a job, you want to keep your job, you want to be an essential piece. So really being entrepreneurial and figuring out what's unique about you and being able to make sure employers see and know that is important. As I said, maybe 20 years ago, if you could do one thing well, that was sufficient. I think the employers that we talk to, they're really looking for students who have a specialty but are kind of broader in their skills, that can communicate with people from other departments, that have some of those, can write concise reports, that can talk to different audiences, like know when to speak to a scientific audience, but understand how to talk to customers, and things like that. So there's really kind of this little bit of convergence, right? To be a more and more, being able to do some of the things we talk about is getting more important. All right, so who is an entrepreneur? What's your image of an entrepreneur? Just throw out some adjectives. Manager? Yeah, that's just I shouldn't have put that. I'm going to have another slide. We're going to talk about managers too. High energy, yeah, right. You got to get that squiggly line, like you have to be able to deal with the squiggly line, right? I mean, they're often portrayed as these heroic figures, right? I mean, in the press, and which is not, I have a problem with that, right? Because I think that deters a lot of people from thinking of themselves as entrepreneurs. But it's really, it's not just about creating new ventures, right? As I said, because of the nature of the job market, it's going to be very valuable if you can think in entrepreneurial terms within companies and be an entrepreneur. We have a lot of students that graduated from the program that were our most entrepreneurial students. I thought for sure after 1 or 2 years in working for a big company, they would be just out of there and doing their own thing. And we do have some of those, but a few of our really, really outstanding students who I really thought about as going into the entrepreneurship world right away, their companies must be keeping them very happy, and they must be generating a lot of value because they have stayed in some of those companies. So as I said, you have a lot of value if you can create value for an organization. Okay. All right, so managers versus innovators and entrepreneurs. So I will kind of fly through this, right? But there's a bit of a nuance. Managers typically, somebody gives them a budget, right? And they manage a project all at once. They say, I have $500,000 to do this thing. I'm going to deploy these resources in a very efficient system. And we need, obviously, tons of managers, right? Whereas entrepreneurs aren't necessarily resource constrained, right? They're more driven by the opportunity or the idea. You know, they think about, I have these things here and I have this idea. I'm going to forge ahead and I'm going to try to create this. I may not have the budget. I may not know exactly how it's going to work right away, but it's kind of that mindset that they'll figure out how to do it. So it's, instead of being resource dependent, they're opportunity dependent. So like I said, a manager kind of launches a project the whole time, right? If you're working for a big company, you have an annual budget, you can project how many people you're going to hire and things like that. Entrepreneurship, it's more in incremental stages. Careers, you know where you're going to go in a big company, what level pays what, and things like that. Entrepreneurs, more about kind of building wealth or making, less linear leaps. All right, so often we talk about this is kind of a research thing, but causal thinking versus effectual thinking, and I will do this in a very in an example that we can really understand. So causal thinking is, you're the chef at a restaurant, the owner gives you the recipe and the money to go out and buy the groceries or the ingredients for what you need. The effectual way of thinking is, okay, what do I have in the fridge? What can I make with this? You see the difference, right? There used to be a television show, they'd come and raid your refrigerator and try to make a meal out of it. Did anyone ever remember that? No, some people had really terrible things in their refrigerator. All right, so teams, typically you've got the founders, people with technical skills, people with business skills. Advisors are super important, and like I said, probably your parents aren't the only advisors you should have, especially depending on what your business is. There are tons of resources, even whether it's at Purdue or in communities. So there are things like the SBA, the Small Business Administration, in every town. So if you have family members who are looking to start a business, the US government has this Small Business Administration where you can go get access to market research and things like that. Here at the library, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars of market research reports that once you are in the work world, you will not have access to. You'll have to pay for that unless you come back to the Purdue libraries. So, I mean, these are super valuable resources. Even if you're going to interview with a company, I absolutely suggest you look up the market research reports on the industry that you're interviewing, where the company is. I mean, if it's, in food and beverage, or if it's in aeronautical, you can go and look up market reports for an entire industries or very detailed data about specific companies, what their activities are. And that is a gold mine here that you can tap into as students, and many students leave without ever knowing that. Okay, and then of course, attorneys, accountants and bankers, things like that. Okay, so team, it's all about execution. You can have the best idea in the world, but if you don't have the right people, it's unlikely that you'll pull it off in a very successful way. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the Entrepreneurship Program. It's really like a minor. Have you ever seen presentations on this? No, okay. So as I said, it's like a minor, but for engineering students, many of you can complete this by taking 2 courses, which is really those first 2 courses, ENTR 200, Intro to Entrepreneurship Innovation, and ENTR 310. Because we've aligned a lot of the other courses, those 3 other courses, with engineering courses that you have to take anyway. So if you're in mechanical engineering, you'll have a series of 3 courses that align with your major. So this can be very easy to access. Now, if you absolutely love and want to take every single entrepreneurship course there is, obviously you can do that as well. But we offer these even in the summer. Is anybody here in the summer doing research, things like that? Yeah, well, we offer the 2 courses in the summer, so some people can knock out the whole thing in the summer. Some of the things you'll learn about is the things I talked about, but obviously more in depth, and you'll get hands-on experience. You'll have to use those databases I talked about. You'll have to survey people. You'll have to come up with financial projections. You'll have to kind of do presentations and things like that. You'll have to figure out business models. We have some capstone courses, which, like I said, some engineering students don't take these capstone courses, but we have 3 of them. One is how do you build an entrepreneurial career? So we know many students aren't going to go out at 20, 22 and be an entrepreneur, nor do I recommend that, particularly if you're in a technology field where you really need to learn your industry, make contacts and things like that. Not that there aren't outliers, and oftentimes we talk about the outliers. So we have a venture planning capstone where if you do have an idea, you work with a student team on a project that we bring in experts from the community who help you work through some of the issues. And a great course that we have, because like I said, the job market is really changing. So many of you, I heard it's 40 to 50% of you in 10 or 20 years, maybe not you because you're coming out of Purdue, but many people are not going to be full-time employed by companies anymore, but you will be a subcontractor, you will be a consultant, you will be a freelancer, so you will have to be an entrepreneur to sell yourselves to companies, and that's just the nature of the direction the job market's going in. I mean, if you look if anybody know people who are in marketing communications, and that's a field that it's almost all freelancers now, right? If you're a professional writer or a marketing communications person, it's very difficult to get a full-time job in a company. So what we do is in this consulting course, you get to learn the profession of consulting. So you learn, how do I find clients? How do I manage clients? How do I scope jobs? How do I create deliverables? And you work on a project with a partner business in the community or a nonprofit. As I said, we teach a grad and faculty course if you ever become a grad student. Purdue has a whole bunch of resources for faculty. As I said, the main priority is getting some of the technology out, but they have workshops if you want to dabble in entrepreneurship, if you have an idea that can help you think about whether or not you have something with some potential. So lots of resources. If you think you've invented something at Purdue, students own their intellectual property at Purdue. Do you know what that means? Yes? Okay, so if you say you come up with an incredible invention at Purdue, right? Students, pretty much, unless you are working in a research lab and being paid, or doing something for credit, or using, a considerable amount of Purdue resources, undergraduate students own their intellectual property. If you're a grad student who's paid by the university, and you're working for a professor in the lab, and you invent something, you don't own that intellectual property. The university owns that intellectual property. But if you ever have a question having to do with intellectual property, Purdue's Office of Technology Commercialization is a great place to get answers. But if you ever have questions, feel free to contact me about that too. Okay, so I like to show this slide because there are a lot of assets and resources here at Purdue. So we have education, right, where we are trying to create entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. We don't care if you're doing it in your dorm room tonight or if you're going to do it in 20 years, right? It's about lowering the barriers and making this profession or making this accessible to you. It doesn't matter when. The incubation activities, it's really about creating companies tomorrow, right? Getting this technology out into the real world as soon as possible. All right, so I am in the Burton Morgan Center on the second floor, as is the Certificate in Entrepreneurship Innovation staff. I will show you our video since I have to. Whoops, did I already speak for, are we over time? No? Okay. Let's see. Talk that long. We started at 4:30, right? I asked a lot of questions. Okay. So I'll end with our little advertisement here that, like I said, premiered last week. Uh-oh. Let's see, maybe I should go here. Let's see. When is this over? 20 past? Okay, it's 3 minutes, so we're good. Oh, no. What's going on? doesn't like it. Great. Where is this? There we go. Interesting. Well, that's good data. I know it doesn't work in Explorer very well. Oh. What's going on? Huh. Anybody know how to use it? Oh well. Anybody suggestions?
Hit escape and see if the sound's on in the.
Oh, on the other thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is there like volume button on the web tab next to it?
I don't think so. I don't understand. Oh well.
No, it's just
All right, well. Let's see. I highly recommend that you go see the video. All right, well, if you have any interest, just Google Nathalie Entrepreneurship Purdue, you'll find me. Rita Baker is our academic advisor. She deals with all of your academic advisors all the time to figure out the best way to try to fit this into your schedule if you're interested.